Love Bear Hugs asks, how can one be bonded yet have no attachment since I said that I had bonded with my grandpa Caleb? That's a great question. I think, I mean, non-attachment doesn't mean you don't appreciate, or it doesn't mean you don't revel in or enjoy things. It just means that you you enjoy it in the now. And so, like, as I appreciated my grandfather's last chapter of his life, there was no illusion that he wasn't going to die. In fact, that was a big part of, his identity as a 93, 94-year-old man, was that I'm close to dying and my body is falling apart and I have a transition right around the corner. And so bonding with him was really getting to know who he was, really learning. And it's interesting because my experience with him, it started out as being a cerebral connection of listening to his stories, listening to his words and wisdom, and learning from him in that way. And then it became more learning from the way he acted, and the way that he was calm in situations, and the way that he would never become frustrated or never get angry, and the way that he would just always have a jolliness to him. And then after a while, it just became not about any specific action or words at all. It just became about being in his presence as he resonated in this state of gratitude. And I didn't really pick up on this until after he was passed, but that was really a huge part of the bond, was simply receiving the vibration that he put out. And I think, truthfully, I think that in some ways that vibration incubated in me for a while, and has been incubated in me, and is just slowly beginning to kind of affect the way I vibrate in the world. And so I really feel like much of the person that I'm becoming has been influenced by these bonds, this vibrational absorbing that happened during this lucky final chapter that I got to experience. I think that's one of the big reasons why in many faiths it's important to spend time with a guru or a master or a teacher, is because it's not because the teacher teaches you things or gives you lessons or write things down, or it's not the lessons they give you. It's being in the presence of this vibration of gratitude, peace, connection that can affect you on a way that you cannot learn logically. You can't get to heart knowledge through the steps of mental, logic. That's why it's crazy to have debates with people about faith. You can't change someone's heart knowledge through the head. It just doesn't work. But as far as non-attachment goes, it really comes back to, I think, reminders of appreciating the present moment, and appreciation that in the now there is nothing lacking. And so the attachment comes when you think things should be different. He should have lived longer. With his situation, I find that occasionally I miss him in a sad way, but far more often and fairly regularly, I will bring his vibration, memories, thoughts, feelings that I had when I was with him, and I will bring it into the now. Even though his physical body is long past, that vibration is something that I can kind of reconnect with and re-energize in myself. Rainbow Sorrow says, and the fact that he was so peaceful and accepting of death. That was a huge lesson. Most of our experience with death is that of fear, and that of it's a failure, and it's wrong. I mean, the medical profession is sworn to fight off death, and yet it's like if your job as a lifeguard was to stop the tide, the tide comes, death comes, and so it's weird how rare that perspective is that Grandpa had of being not so much welcoming of death, but accepting and somewhat excited about this next transition. In the same way that a fetus has no way of comprehending what awaits and would certainly be afraid of leaving the womb, this safe place where everything's taken care of and it's warm, to this frightening, scary world. But of course that was an exciting thing, and thank goodness we made that transition. In the same way, we have no idea, we have no way of perceiving of that next transition, except with this kind of mild fear, but mostly excitement. We are always fetuses on the cusp of something we can never understand. And if you can sit in the question, allow non-knowing to be okay, that makes it a lot easier. And it's a cool just awareness too that, if you look at Grandpa as a model, he lived his life according to his ideals, and over the course of his life, as a young preacher, he was very much a fire and brimstone, and grew up from a bigoted family, and definitely was not the hippy-dippy, open-hearted, pink-embracing grandpa that I knew. But through his following of the teachings of Jesus, he learned to strip away the values that he could tell were layered on top of him, the ideas that really were nothing to do with truth, with God, and with the love and the divine experience as he understood it. And so, as he stripped away the things that were his false self and surrendered to his more pure, true self, it became less and less about his identity. And then it's neat to see how that process then kind of transcends death. Because the vibration that he resonated at, especially during the end, resonates in me and many other people. So it's kind of a neat aspiration of, as we get clearer in our divine vibration, we also death becomes less and less even a real thing. The only thing that can die is our ego, is our finite consciousness. The true nature of ourselves doesn't exist on the realm of life and death, as in a human sense. In that way, I don't think Grandpa's specific identity is like, walking the halls and looking over my shoulder, but I think that the core love that he got closer and closer and closer and closer to is simply what he is, as he is a part of it all. And that certainly doesn't seem like a very scary thing at all. But as I've said in the past, I have no fear of death, but I'm still going to try to enjoy this ride as long as possible. That ride is, there's no line. You can get in the death ride whenever you want, so might as well enjoy the rest of this one. Whee!